speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Who you with, Kirk? I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm welcome to speak on it. Welcome to speak on it. I'm welcome to speak. Welcome to speak. Welcome to speak. I'm 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 who you with, Kirk, dog. Welcome to speak on it with who you with, Kirk, dog. I'm who you with, Kirk, dog. Happy Sunday to everyone. Had a great day, a great weekend. You can live chat with us in the chat room. You can also call in tonight. Also, welcome everyone on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Twitter. D Live is in the house. And if you are on my personal Facebook page, please take the time to go over to the podcast page. Speak on it with who you with, Kurt, dog. And for when you do chat with us, I can put your message up on the screen. So welcome everyone to the show. Y'all read the title. Do you think the NFL would have accepted Carl Nassib if he would have came out when he was drafted back in 2016? That's what we're going to discuss tonight. You can actually live chat with us and let me know your opinion on it. And all opinions are welcomes, but please, if you call in or if you're in the chat room, please be respectful. That's the only rule we have on this show. It is for everyone. Everybody have their own different opinion about it. So last week, we seen all over the news that the first openly gay man came out with the NFL. And me personally, it don't make a difference to me. If he could play, he could play. But it do bring up a question. If he would have came out when he was drafted back in 2016, would he receive the same open arms? Because we seen players before him that actually came out. Michael Sam, for instance, when he was drafted, it was a big issue about him kissing his fiancee when he was drafted, but he never had that opportunity to get on the field. Welcome to the show, Marcella Smith. What's up, my peep? So that's what brings up this question tonight. Do you think if Carl would have came out before the draft, he would have been allowed to play? Now, there have been many players that have actually came out, but they came out after their career was over. Some people may say, well, I don't know. Well, for me, it shouldn't make a difference. If they have the power to be able to play, let them play. Sexuality shouldn't have anything to do with it. Not unless it shouldn't be, whatever their preference is. That's just my opinion. But you can also call in and give us your opinion about it. I know everybody's not going to have the same opinion. That's cool. but you can call in, talk with us, let us know. 972 591 3665. 972 591 3665. And you can let us know how you feel. Welcome to the show. T Cal is in the house. Said happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you. Hopefully you're doing good and enjoying the show. Hopefully you enjoyed your weekend, because I don't know about you, but it's been hot. Um, but so since he came out, out.com have came out with several stories where a lot of ex-football players have came out in the past after their career was over, because they didn't feel comfortable coming out during their career. And that's the problem with a lot of sports, unfortunately. There's a lot of sports that welcome same-sex relationship, but when it come down to NFL, that's frowned upon. Even in NBA, I believe only one person came out with them, Collins, if I'm not mistaken. Um, he came out, and just kind of curious, should it be that way? I feel like it shouldn't, because Jason Collins, I was thinking James Collins, but Jason Collins came out and he was welcomed with open arms by LeBron James and the late Kobe Bryant. So when it come down to a male sports, it's a problem when people, um, when they come out as being gay, bisexual, or whatever you want to call it. As some people have issues with that. Um, in today's society, it's so open now, it shouldn't be a problem. As long as they can perform that game, let them play. Let them play. You should not judge someone because of their sexuality. Um, um, Marcella said, with the way the world is now, yes, he would have been drafted in 2016, but in 2016, no. Well, because you have to remember, um, and they did, because Michael Sam, he was drafted, I think, 2 years before him, and he was put on the Cowboys practice field on a practice team, and he never got the opportunity to play. Michael Sams was actually drafted in 2014, and everybody, when when he was drafted, he stood up and kissed his fiance or boyfriend. I'm not sure uh, what their position was at the time, but he kissed them on national TV, and a lot of people got upset about that. But I think with today's society, you have to change with the society, because now same-sex marriage is legal in a lot of places, and you have to go with the law of the land and continue to embrace it. I know it was even some Cowboys players that spoke out and said, I don't feel comfortable with him being in the locker room. There was some said I had no problem with it. Either way, that's his life. That's his life. And it even been some of the stories that came out, it was hurting these players more trying to keep it a secret. And that's why they end up saying, you know what? Fine. They finally came out. Like for instance, um, Scott France came out to the national as gay. He played for Kansas State, offensive tackle in the NFL, hopeful. Um, he shared his teammates, to whom he come out earlier, had warmly received the news. A sign of most alpha of locker rooms may finally be ready for equality. That's a quick shift considering retired NFL player Brian O'Callahan, who came out shortly before France. shared that as recently as 2011, he contemplated taking his own life as a better option than letting his sexuality be disclosed. While he still played ball. So, with more and more football stars coming out um, and living in their truth, has future finally changed onto the turf. Oh, excuse me. And here's a list of players in college and pro ball who have provided you can be gay or bi and still run the ball. So it's about 28 that have came out, which is I don't see a problem with it personally, but in today's society, so many people want to judge you by your action, and it's not for us to judge anyone. Now, personally, because it happened 2 years after Michael Sam was basically blackballed, allegedly blackballed by the NFL, because he was a All America defensive player in college. Just knowing he's going to the pro and going to be able to play. But once he kissed his boyfriend, once he was drafted, all of that went away. So once again, I personally feel like if Carl would have came out when he got drafted or before, well, if he would have came out before he got drafted, he probably never would have. But once again, I'm happy for the brother. I do you and play the ball, play ball, prove them wrong, uh, because that is history that have been made in the NFL. We see how they did Kaepernick for kneeling, and they blackballed him, never played the game anymore. But I think now with what's going on with Carl, if they come back and say once his contract is up, oh, we're not going to renew your contract. See, the NFL cannot do like they did Michael, allegedly how they did Michael Sams, for the simple fact that once Michael Sam did what he did, at this point, they already announced he was drafted. But if they would have reneged on it, only thing they could say, oh, he couldn't make the team. He wasn't good enough. That's the easy route. And so it's going to be interesting when it's contract time and Carl come up for a new contract. Are they going to renew the contract? I'm glad that the Raiders have accepted him. I'm also glad that the NFL decide to take a stand, but it's that they true feeling, because we know how the NFL do people. They'll use you as much, allegedly use you as much as they can, and then they'll turn around and let you go once it's all said and done. We talked about it earlier this month, where the NFL decided to change the rule about the head injuries. For years, they said for the black guys, they couldn't get the benefit for the head injury because of the way their head was made. Their head was too big. That's the reason why they getting injuries. But now everybody is paying attention to the NFL. And if they decide when it's contract time not to renew Carl, or if no other team pick him up, that's going to be a problem. And I think Carl did the best thing: wait, prove itself, and now come out, live your life. If you are gay, bisexual, whatever you may be, live your life. Be happy with your life, because trying to hold everything on the inside will put a lot of pressure on you. So be happy with whatever you like, be happy with it. I don't care who it is, if it's sports or non-sports. Be happy with the person that you are. And but also it was I'm gonna go through a couple of these names because here's a couple of more
players that came out, and there's some new players that just enter the college scene that have actually came out also. So um, some young guys starting college off that have came out, which I'm all for it because I'm like this. That's you. That's your life. Whatever you do, it don't affect me none. I'll support you. Live your life as long as you are happy. Um, Roy Simmons, they called him Roy Sugarbear Simmons, offensive lineman for New York Giant, I'm sorry, and Washington Redskin, became the second NFL player to publicly reveal he was gay 6 years after playing his last game. A Super Bowl, he came out on Donahue in 1992. He will publish a memoir, Out of Bounds, coming out of sexual abuse, addiction, and my life of lies in the NFL in 2006. So here it is. They playing these games, but they have to tell lies, all because you have a choice to make because of your sexuality. Um, it's either be honest about your sexuality or you lie about it to keep your career going. And it shouldn't be like that. Everybody should be treated equally, regardless of your color, your sexuality, um, wherever you're from. You should be treated equally. Um, Ray McDonald, another one. This back in 1968, Washington Redskin running back. Ray McDonald was arrested for having sex with a man in public just a year after the Redskins had drafted him in the first round. So Coach Vince Lombardi knew McDonald was gay when he took over leadership of the team in 1969, but made clear there would be no discrimination in his locker room. And that's a good thing Vince did that. Um, those close to the legend say, however, Lombardi would eventually fire McDonough for showing up late to a meeting, and the and the back would never play Pro Bowl again. In 1986, after being hospitalized when a lover stabbed him, McDonough learned he contracted HIV, and he would die of AIDS-related cause in 1993. So even though Vince Lombardi said no discrimination in the locker room, but he fired him for being late and he never played football again. This was back in 1968. So they could say one thing but do something completely different. And that's the issue that we have with a lot of sports team. Well, the male sports team, professional teams. Um, Even Wade Davis, cornerback, who played preseason with the Tennessee Titans, Seattle Seahawks, and Washington Redskins, and spent 2 seasons with the NFL Europe team, Berlin Thunder, and Barcelona Dragon, came out as gay in 2012, nearly a decade after his retirement. Davis said he concealed his sexuality from teammates while he played. He would later join the staff at the Hendrick Martin Institution in New York, working with LGBT youth. Um, so y'all can live chat with us. I know I see a lot of people that's in there looking. You can give us your opinion. You can also call in if instead of chatting, if you want to call in, you can call in 972-591-3665. Want to know, how do you feel about the NFL? Do you think Carr would have played the game if he would have came out um, before he before he actually was drafted? Do you think he would have been able to play this long in the NFL. I personally, I don't feel like they would have kept him because a lot of players allegedly homophobic. They think just because a person don't have the same sexuality as you try to condemn them, talk about them, even to the point of trying to. Some people would even attack them, all because of their sexual preference, which is wrong. And when you do things like that, you should be held accountable for it. Um, Even transgenders. We've done many of stories on this platform about transgenders being found murdered. Even here in Dallas, I think at one point it was like several of them that was found murdered here in Dallas. Um, some been attacked in LA and other cities. So you should love them just like you want to be loved, or treat them as if you would like to be treated, and treat everyone fairly. Um, that's the only way you should be. If everybody treated everybody right, this world would be a much better place. I'm also cut down to a couple of other players. Like I said, it's some new college players that have came out also, which is hopefully by the time they get ready to go into the NFL, this will be behind them. They don't have to struggle with this. But looking at what happened in the past with Michael Sam, that was just wrong. They can say, oh no, he couldn't make the team, but at the same time, it was more to it, allegedly more to it. And with, yeah, I'm not going to put that out there, but no, I'm not a supporter of our home team as long as that owner is there. But uh, Kawam Harris played 5 seasons with San Francisco 49er and one with Oakland Raiders before retiring from the sport after the 2008 season. The offensive tackle would be out in public in 2013 after a domestic dispute with a boyfriend landed him in jail. He would later confirm his sexuality on CNN and sit down with ESPN to discuss the challenges of growing up gay in Jamaica and playing football while closet. So I hope, I just wish and hope everybody realized that we're it's different times now. We have same-sex marriage, so it shouldn't be a surprise that if someone and be come out and saying that they are gay, they're married to the same sex, or are they in love with the same sex, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter because at the end of the day, we're all human. Um, the word took notice in 2014 when All America defensive end Michael Sam came out as gay to ESPN while still in college. But he said that had been a known fact in the Missouri Tiger locker room. He was famously known. He famously kissed his boyfriend on camera when he got drafted by the St. Louis Rams and became the first openly gay player ever to get drafted by an NFL team. However, he would be cut before getting official place on the roster. He did end up playing 2 years with the Montreal Football League, making him the first openly gay player in history at the Canadian Football League. And I know he came to Dallas. He was on the practice squad, but never made it to the field. You go from All America defensive end to not being able to play at all. And hopefully some changes will come. Um, Duran Bryant, a Purdue alumni who gained more yards than any other Don Heisman Trophy winner in Big Ten history. Duran Bryant failed to get drafted in 2008. He signed with Pittsburgh Steelers later, but got cut. He later declined to sign with the Tennessee Titans and Dallas Cowboys before coming out as gay at 24. He told Philadelphia Magazine in 2013 he revealed to the magazine that he dated a male cheerleader at Purdue who had threatened to out him then. You got to know who you're dating too, because people will try to blackmail you. Um, uh, Let me see this other one. Oh, Ed Gallagher, a University of Pittsburgh offensive lineman from 1977 through 79. Ed Gallagher repressed his sexuality until 1985 when he had his first sexual encounter with a man, then attempted to kill himself 12 days later. Left paralyzed, he would go on to publish a book and to find alive to thrive, becoming a spokesman for the disability and advocate for human rights. He died in 2005. Hate is real because people will judge you, they will talk about you, and don't really know how you feel. And most of them don't care how you feel. But to treat a lot of these players like this, or all of these players actually, is wrong. Now, me personally, I have family members that is gay. I have friends that is gay. Um, I tell them, be happy. Whatever you love, I love it. Do do you be happy? I don't judge you. I don't love you no different. Whatever you decide to do, I'm here to support you. I would just tell them, be safe. That's all. Be safe. I know it's harder when you playing the massacre sports, football, but people feel like uh, just because you playing football, you may not be attracted to the same sex. But you don't you don't know who you're gonna fall in love with. You don't know this person past. Unfortunately, a lot of people been hurt by the opposite sex, and they like, I don't want to deal with it. Or it could have just been that friend that was there and it just happened. You don't know. So if you know someone that is gay, instead of turning your nose up to them, support them. Support them. They still a human being. I've heard stories where family have broken up all because somebody came out. The other day, I haven't seen the video, but apparently on social media, this young kid came out and his family shamed him on social media because he came out to them. You need to embrace what they're going through. Sit down and have a conversation, especially for a child. Have a conversation. see exactly how they feel. Now I'm gonna hit a couple of more of these, but if you go to out.com, um, the title is 28 football players who came out of the closet. And go to that website, um, and it'll give you a list of players. But there's a couple of upcoming players that have came out that is now um, entering college, and it take a lot for the young men to come out like this. Mykeen Johnson, a recent grad of Temple High School in Arizona, is set this fall to be the first openly gay scholarship player recruited to play major college football, taking the field with the University of Arizona. He tweeted earlier this month, first week of college football is done. Getting into the swing of things, loving it down here in Tucson. Mykeen Johnson, my hat goes off to you, to be a young brother to come out and still living your dream. Hope you had the best career ever. And hopefully you don't have to experience like Michael Sams had to experience. Um, so definitely be rooting for you. Um, hope you have a good year. Make your parents proud. Um, Kansas State offensive tackle Scott France came out during a July the 12th interview on ESPN. I guess this was July is not here yet. He revealed he came out to teammate the previous year during a team building exercise before he even told his family. He had kept the sexuality secret during recruiting because he feared it might be an issue. Though coaches say it would have made no difference. Fred started all 13 games last year as a freshman and already enjoys attention from NFL scouts. He and Mykeen Johnson are expected to be the only out players taking the field for Division One football, bowl subdivision, previous Division 1A teams this year, at least so far. So it's like I said, it's a lot of players on here. Uh, too many to go through in the amount of time that we have, but I recommend that you go and definitely take a look at it. Now, I mentioned about Jason Collins. Um, he came out and played NBA. Now, the difference between NFL and NBA, what I have seen, the NBA changed with time. Just like when George Floyd was killed last year, or Breonna Taylor was killed, the NBA accepted the protest and they shut games down behind it. Um, but looking at Jason Collins, when he revealed years ago, it was a historic announcement that seemingly shifted the conversation about homophobic and professional male team sport. The veteran big man was applauded for his courage, with LeBron James and the late Kobe Bryant leading the near universal public support from NBA stars. And yet, despite the warm reception Colin received, nobody else has followed his trailblazing footsteps. There is not an active, openly gay player in in the NBA or any other American major male professional league besides the one in the NFL. But as for MLB and the NHL, there's not one. So hopefully, what Carl had done, it will open up the door and give other players the courage to come out and be true to themselves and true to their people. So, um, Like I said, it's a lot of it. Go to out.com. You can pull up these stories and read them for yourself. A lot of them very interesting. And other than that, I'll see y'all tomorrow night, Monday night. Monday night, 8 p.m. Central Time. We're getting back into the swing of it. So I know last week I was out, but getting back into it. So I will see y'all tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Time. Until then, I love each and every one of you. Peace.